Well, a single flower can't make up for the lifetime of loss I've already felt. But it's the thought that counts. We've had quite the journey so far, haven't we, Fray? Maybe it's time we take a trip down memory lane. Where to begin? Ah, yes. The day we arrived in Limsa after the Seventh Umbral Calamity. It felt so different after all the time we'd spent away. Some things hadn't changed. Myriad peoples with small problems, always willing to call upon adventurers for help. And we'd barely changed either. Not that we had the time to. Always willing to lend a helping hand.
Maybe too willing.
If you say so. We helped nonetheless, and gained the trust of the people. Enough so to spark the interest of the Admiral herself, and she told us to talk to the other Grand Company leaders, and soon we were found by the Scions. They thrust us straight into danger. Quite literally. We were terrified of being burnt alive by Ifrit at first. Some primals can be terrifying to face, even for a renowned slayer of gods. I swear, Titan was the most terrifying we ever had to face. We were afraid that we were going to slip over the edge, and that would be the end of our adventures. Without Mazi, Cilion, or Mumira there to back us up, it was even worse. But still, we persevered, and Titan fell. then, things took a turn for the worse. We ended up in Kurthis with no backup outside of a kindly knight.
The kindly knight who helped us, Alphino and Sin, save Eorzea from Gruda's wrath. Now is not the time.
You're right. Sorry. Before we could save Eorzea and face the Ultima weapon, we mastered the basics of the Nemean scholars from the soul crystal we found, and managed to bring one of the Tonberries back from the brink of insanity. And he agreed to continue to teach us when we were ready, even though he couldn't cast the spells himself. Oh, I do hope we can save them all before this journey's over. Now we were ready to storm the Praetorium and face the Ultima weapon. A scary-looking machina if we've ever seen one, but it seemed to pose little challenge for a warrior of light, neither to the Ascian we faced afterwards. Hydaelyn was truly on our side that day.
Too bad she hasn't been since.
The 7th astral era had come, and all because of us. Sure, Eorzea's riddled with problems still. It's nothing that we're not willing to work with, right?
Speak for yourself.
Alright. I mean, everything that happened between that battle and us meeting was why we met in the first place. So, we continued being a godslayer, defeating every primal that was summoned. Even when it was a bit of a chore to do so.
So many primals, and we're always the only one that can deal with them.
It does seem a bit tedious, does it not? Indelia and Cryo never fought. Harenvald did plenty when we were on the first. And none of the other scions possess the Echo. Perhaps they need more adventurers like us.
Agreed.
Between killing primals and being swept up in Uldah's endless politics, we managed to kill an Ascian. Permanently. It wasn't without cost, however. Moonbrita did something that can never truly be repaid. But every Ascian we kill makes her sacrifice worth it in the end. Afterwards, we helped battle dragons on the Steps of Faith to help defend Ishgard. To celebrate the victory, there was a banquet in Ul'dah, which quickly took a turn for the worse.
I still haven't forgiven any of them for not apologizing to us.
It was quite the disaster, but it was a long time ago. Still, that night lives forever etched into my memory as one of the most horrific. Nanamo, Raubon, the Scions, we all lost something at that banquet that we'll never get back.
And who knew yours would be your sanity?
Fray!
Sorry, not really.
I'll deal with you later. But we found something too.
A Dark Knight Soul Crystal and the embodiment of your negative emotions constantly bothering you?
No, well, yes, but we started to find who we are. And yes, part of me is the woman who talks to her own inner demons.
Aw, you do love me too.
We finally found safety behind the walls of Ishgard, at the behest of a friend, but the warning signs were all around us. The rest of Eorzea wasn't safe for us now, and few people in Ishgard would trust outsiders, especially someone who obviously didn't belong. Cold winds that blocked most of our view of the city barely bothered us. There was something inside of us that day that made the tour of the city seem like a blur. We remember meeting Count Edmond, Artuaro, and Amanalon, but everything else?
I can recount this one. You wandered to the tribunal, where you met a man who told you the tale of a dark knight, and you were curious, and you met me. The rest was a bit of a blur to you, yes, but we had fun killing every monster we saw for a week and a half, furthering our strength in the dark arts.
Until the day at Whiteburnfront.
You had to ruin the fun.
Fray.
Oh, come on. I was having fun reliving the memories. I didn't want to remember being beat up by the Warrior of Light.
Well, neither did I, but it was the most defining part of my journey. I learned to live with myself, what I'd become in the wake of everything that had happened in the span of 6.5 moons. Maybe it was dark, maybe it wasn't normal, but neither was I.
No, we weren't. But you weren't afraid of that, were you?
Never was.
That's my girl.
With newfound abilities and newfound friends, we decide to try and stay the tide of a 1,000-year war with peace talks. Okay, what was Alphino thinking?
I have no idea.
Me neither. That kid. Either he's going to get himself killed, or he'll be the death of us. Nevertheless, we slayed another primal, multiple dragons, despite the fact that I didn't want to after what I'd learned from Midgardsormr and Azel, gained the trust of some Moogles, and found ourselves atop the turning mists, at a glorious palace, home to one of the great worms of Dravania. We'd already met Midgardsormr atop the Keeper of the Lake, but seeing an actual, living dragon was something else. Even without one of his eyes, he was still the most majestic creature we'd ever seen. We couldn't imagine how someone would be able to kill one, even though Estinian seemed sure that we could do it together. When talks of peace failed and Azel's faith was shaken to its core, Estinian decided that his method was the only way to save Ishgard. And though we didn't want to face the worm, we did so anyway, since that was all people seemed to see us for.
Their weapon of light, ever marching forward, doing as she's told, staying silent amidst the chaos and carnage, ever marching forward, even when all seems lost, when you want to scream and let yourself break apart for just a moment and let people see the torment underneath. After all, a smile better suits a hero, so why don't we keep smiling and pretend everything's all right?
For those we have lost, for those we can yet save. That's what the scion said. For those we have lost. Even when we've lost so much that it seems impossible to save anything else. Orshifon and Azel died for us so that we could keep going forward. So that we could save Ishgard and see their nation saved. How I wish they could see it now, slowly rebuilding itself from the ashes of 1,000 years of war, uniting themselves with the Dravanians once more, breaking down the barriers between noble and commoner. They would have loved to see it. All of that verged on our victories, however. Archbishop Thordan, that damn bastard!
It's a good thing we took care of him when we did.
It is. He did such terrible things to his country, his family, even those who protected him.
And he still to kill on the one Ascian we'd wanted to kill for the longest time.
I didn't care about that. Then Estinian made the mistake of taking both of Nidhogg's eyes at once, and he was consumed. Lost to the worm's rage, he transformed, and it was left to us to face him. After getting Racefelger's blessing, we went to the steps of faith and saved our friend. Finally, we had saved something, even if we didn't see him for some time afterwards.
Children of the land, do you hear echoes of truths that once rang clear? Two souls intertwined, one true love they did find, bringing land and heavens near. But flames that burned full bright soon fell dark. Memories dimmed by shadowed hearts. In the waxing gloom did wane the lover's moon, watching as their worlds drift apart. One soul's cry, a passion welling within. Sacrifice, a final plea to her kin. Yet this
Threat still loomed in the darkness. Alize returned to the Scions after a close encounter with a band of lost heroes from the first. They tried to kill us, but they were misled by the Asians. Those bastards. We couldn't help but feel bad for them. And when our crystals of light resonated to summon Hydaelyn to help, in the form of Minfilia, we had to oblige. We had to save their world somehow, even if it was only a temporary measure.
We'd come back.
Oh yes, we would. Unfortunately, our attention was fixated on the Griffin's attempts at liberating Alamigo with Primal. After Papalymo's brave attempt to save the day, we had to finish the job. We didn't let his sacrifice be in vain.
Nothing to say about Lise?
Well, we were angry, all right. Angry that she lied to us, but at the end of the day, she was young and stupid. And I won't get mad at her for that.
Fair enough. On to the next chapter, I guess.
Walking through the gates of Castor Morians felt like a breath of fresh air. I hadn't seen these lands in 20 years since I was a little girl. Long before I knew the Scions, or the other side of me, or what my journey would come to.
Hey, stop leaving me out of this.
Sorry. Not really.
Oh, very funny.
But we were home. I only wished Mozzie had been here to see it. Sadly, things in Garabanya heated up quickly, and we needed to deal with the battles on another front. On the other side of the world. So we coerced a pirate captain into sailing us to Kagane, and made our way to Doma. Though the journey wasn't easy, I'm not sure there's much of interest that I remember, besides the battle at the castle itself. Sure, the Azim Steppe was interesting and all, but I can't remember anything of note. We went to take back Doma from the Imperials, and it almost went off without a hitch. Almost. We almost lost Gosetsu, but he came back later, so it was almost like it didn't matter. Almost. Before heading back to Garabanya, we decided to check in with my friends over at the Wanderer's Palace. We helped one of the younger Tonberries. Younger when they were turned, mind you, they are over 1,500 years old, but gone unconscious from attempting to summon her father's fairy using a soul crystal while still sick. Fortunately, we were able to restore her to normal, and we found some ancient knowledge along the way.
But no mention of the other journey you took?
Oh no. No. We are not talking about him.
Aw, please let me talk about him.
Absolutely not!
Fine.
Ah, Xenos. Who could ever forget him?
Not while he's still alive and threatening us.
I know, He took over Shinryu, the primal griffin summoned, using a simulated version of the Echo, and attacked us with it. We managed to bring him and the primal down, but failed to detain Xenos, seeing as he took his own life after the battle.
You'd think an Imperial Prince would go out more honorably. Shame. Too bad he lived to tell the tale.
After the whole ordeal with Xenos came to an end, we went back to the royal menagerie with some flowers. We wanted to honor those we had lost. Mother, Father, Mazi, Raji-san, Silion, Membrita, Golred, Worshifant, Isel, Papalimo, Mefrid, Conrad, Gosetsu. I hope that they were proud of me, wherever they ended up. Even though we thought her and Gosetsu dead after flooding Toma Castle, Viceroy Yotsuyu lived just long enough to reunite with her brother and cause even more trouble for the lot of us. At first she seemed to have lost her sanity in our attack, but either that was a ruse or she gained it back and summoned a primal to torment us and kill her brother. Good riddance to the both of them.
But Asahi's still alive.
Being possessed by an Asian does not count as alive, Fray. Which was the case of our dear friend Xenos, for a short time, when Elidibus possessed him and attacked us at the border between the Garlean Empire and Giribania, which was not fun after a strange sorcerer had knocked 5 of our friends unconscious and stowed their souls away to another world.
Why have we forgiven him again?
Sometimes I wonder that as well, especially after he almost got us killed. Twice! Grahatia, if you're listening, I am going to kick your butt the next time I see you.
Wow. I didn't know she still had that in her. I'm honestly impressed.
Sorry, I'm fine. I just need to get that off my chest.
You're good. Honestly, everyone treating that man like he did nothing wrong is... I don't know. He shouldn't have gotten away with it, even if he did fix his mistake.
Dragged us to another world against our will!
You're absolutely right. And he made us fight a bunch of Light Wardens, which almost killed us. And he didn't even help very much.
See? At least we're on the same page. At least the library was nice. The perfect place to relax. Even when we were on the verge of death. The first few Light Wardens weren't that bad. Find their lair, take them down, get more light poisoning. Sounded simple enough.
And despite numerous protests from Yashtola, Reen, and me, you still kept going. Either you're a special kind of stupid or a special kind of brave.
I don't know whether I was just insulted or complimented there.
Oh, I bet you can guess.
After we returned to the Crystarium, after each foray into the lands of Norvrant, a familiar face was waiting for us in our sweet independence. Poor Ardbert, he'd been cursed to wander Norvrant as a shade ever since his return home, until we arrived. At first, we weren't sure what to make of him. After all, the last time we met, he tried to kill us. But he couldn't do any harm as he was, so we welcomed him as a friend, gained his trust. He gained ours as well, and was there for us in our darkest hours. I promise you, Ardbert, I won't forget you. Warriors of light we'd met on the source gave their lives to stay the flood, all except Ardbert. And for their sacrifice, they were reincarnated as shades of their former selves, twisted with the light to form a new kind of sin-eater, the cardinal virtues. We worked with bounty hunters to take them down, and saw pieces of their memories along the way. Lamiette's journey touched me the most, for if I was in her shoes, I would have done anything to save my family.
Even though we couldn't.
Even though we couldn't. The other 4 Light Wardens seemed simple compared to Vothri. He perched himself atop a mountain and levitated it for good measure. Ah, what a bothersome man! We should have ended it when we first came to Yulmore. Shot him in the face with a good blast of dark magic when he started screaming.
I know you chose not to relive this part, but I can't choose not to. After all, you told me to take control after this, didn't you? All that anger, all that pain, you were ready to let it consume you long before we climbed Mount Gulg. You just needed a reason. Sure, I scared the science of it with my charm.
Or lack thereof.
Maybe it's because you needed time. Maybe it's because you thought the darkness within us would keep you from being consumed by the light. Or it was something else. Nevertheless, it wasn't until we made it to Amarant that you were ready to come back to us. Because it sparked something within us.
Something that I still can't explain, like my soul was truly home, even though this wasn't my home. I never felt at home anywhere, though. Not at Valgar's Reach, not in Old Charlian, not even in the Rising Stones. But this place, this felt right. Like I belonged here.
I mean, you once did.
You're right. The pieces of our soul did once call the city home. And then we almost died. Like being torn from the inside out, the light consumed us.
Weary wanderer, you've no fight left to fight, no life left to live.
We collapsed, and then everything went white. It was just us and Arbert. Then he held out that axe, and we took it. You handed me my book and took back my sword. Oh, Emmett, don't you know? This world is not yours to end. This is our future, our story. And we were ready to face Emmett Selk head on, even though that stupid Exarch thought we needed help. Huh? I'm perfectly capable of facing most creatures alone, and this one is no exception. Isn't that right, Fray?
All you need is yourself, your fairy, and the shade of your inner demons.
A crystal of white oricite and a blade of light. That's all we needed to destroy an Ascian. And at the end of the battle, we saw the hole through Emmett Selk's chest with a glimmering axe behind it. And that was the end. Remember us. Remember that we once lived. Those words sounded so familiar. We don't forget. How could we? We don't forget anyone who fights and dies on our journey. We'll remember you, Emmett Selk. We'll remember everything. After all, that's what we're doing now. But another Ascian wasn't so happy with what we did. Luckily, we're used to killing primals, even if they're the most powerful being we've ever faced.
Do have to feel a little sorry for him, though. He was just trying to save his world. So are Emmett Selk and La Habrea.
I know. At least we have this fancy amber crystal to protect us now. I hope it comes in handy later.
Hold on tight to that one. Don't let any blue-haired boy steal half this time.
What did I tell you about mentioning him?
Sorry. Not really.
You really need to work on your apologies. I really do hope Elizabeth found peace at the end. At long last we returned to Eorzea, and went back to meet with our friends at the Wanderer's Palace. We decided to try our hands at a cure for the Nemean plague, and lo and behold, we were actually able to come up with a solution, albeit for one soul. Satoto and Alcazolka now get to live their happy ending in Limsa Lominsa, and I hope one day we can save the others. The latest steps in our journey have been eventful, to say the least. A cure for tempering, making peace with the beast tribes, the lunar primals, the return of Xenos and Asahi, although he's possessed by the Asian Van Daniel, and it seems like we're returning to Charlian soon. Yay.
Wait, aren't we banned from there?
Yes? Why?
Oh dear.
Don't worry, I'm working on a solution.
Is it a giant white hat with a...
Shh! Don't ruin the surprise!
And now we're back to the present. A hero forged through trial after trial, tempered in the light of a dying world, and standing tall through it all, remembering all that came before so she can lead those who come after to a brighter future. A fitting end to this chapter, is it not? You've known sadness, anger, pain, fear. All of these emotions have made you stronger. But you've also known joy, laughter, love, hope. Don't forget that.
Yes, that's perfect, Fray. I'm glad I brought you along for this.
Huh, you couldn't keep me away if you tried. After all, you made your choice when you gave us your answer that day. I'm glad that's what you decided, Livia. See you around.
See you around, Fray.
Shining is the land's light of justice. Ever flows the land's well of purpose. Walk free, walk free, walk free. Believe the lamb's alive. So believe.
So wait, if you're wearing the Amartine mask attached to the hat, how are you going to see?
I told you not to ruin the surprise!
I'm serious, how are you going to see? You never take your glasses off, except at the vault for some reason, but I'm pretty sure they fell off.
Yeah, they fell off. Could have been worse. I forgot them when I went to go meet the Archbishop for the first time.
You what?
Besides, you have no idea how many pairs of glasses I've broken throughout my adventures. I'll glue the glasses into the Amartine mask, and I'll be able to see just fine.
I like it. Wait, aren't you ruining your own surprise?
Damn it, Fray! You tricked me!
Yeah, I did. I'm surprised you didn't tell anyone the truth of why you didn't remember anything from the Far East.
It's too embarrassing. Please stop.
Oh no, the world deserves to know. So, half of her Dark Knight Soul Crystal was stolen by this kid named Mist, you see. And she spent most of her time wandering the Far East, acting a bit off.
Okay, it did not help that whatever you did to my soul crystal accidentally made me relive all of my worst memories on repeat for moons.
It took me snapping both of you and Mist back to reality after you got back to Virabania to make you sane again. Imagine facing Xenos like that. You would have died, Livia.
Probably.
Oh dear. I struck a nerve, didn't I?
You struck a nerve when you first mentioned Mist. Oh, you've gone too far.
We could go beat up Grahati instead?
No, I'm not actually going to hurt him. Not after the rest of the Scions have decided he's one of us.
Oh man. And he's just got the right personality to be punchable. Do you need a hug? You've been sitting up here for the past 5 bells.
No, I'm fine.
Hand me the link, girl. I'm calling Rial.
Don't you dare! I don't have any wounds that need her conjury to be fixed. Besides, I have slain if I was hurt, physically.
You're boring. And you need help.
Alright, you're going back to the Soul Crystal. I need to prepare for our next adventure.
Aww.
Don't worry, if I get tired of pretending I'm sane, we can have some fun.
Hey, take care of yourself up there. You never know what you might find.
Don't worry, I will. Are you sure she'll be okay?
Yeah, I'm sure. After all, if she ever needs it, we're here to help.
After all, one can never truly walk the path alone.
Aye, that's right. Well, what say you? Does she seem broken?
No, not really. Just a little sad.
She did relive some horrible things when she was going through her memories. Feel bad for her. Well, been through a lot. Expect that pain to go away overnight.
Take care of her, Fray. For me. For us. She needs you. Now more than ever.
Don't worry about her, kid. We'll stay together. To the very end.
In the safe fleeting moment. must live.